I can sit here and tell you to punch out when you're behind a tree all day, but what if you don't actually know how to hit a punch shot? Well, in this video, I'm going to just introduce it. We've already learned the basic chipping motion for the short game, so this shouldn't be too much of an extension on top of that, but I wanted to give you a few keys, a few things to think about when we're punching out of trouble. So the first thing is you're going to want a de-lofted club. So right here, I've got a 3-iron, and we'll just say that maybe I'm in some sort of short grass, maybe the rough's not very long, or maybe I just am somehow blocked in the fairway with the tree and I need to punch around it. So if you have a tight lie like that, the punch shot is very, very simple. You set up just like a chip and you hit a low lofted club just like a chip. So I'm going to set up, I'm going to have my feet pretty much together, maybe a little bit wider than a chip. My weight's forward, I'm gripping down a little bit. The ball is pretty much off my right ankle. All of this is what we learned in the chipping section. And then I'm just going to hit kind of a bigger chip. And you can see that that ball barely got off the ground and I'm just running it across the ground. That's all we need to do. Now, you can obviously pick different clubs. Maybe a 5-iron would work a little better. Now, we hit a 3-iron there, but it kind of went pretty low. If you have rough that you have to get over, obviously you can't hit worm burners. So maybe we'll put a 5-iron in our hands and we're going to put it off our back foot again, just like we did with the 3-iron. This time, you should see that the ball is a little bit higher off the ground, just enough to get over the rough and clear whatever obstacle you're trying to get under. Now, the problem with the punch shot, especially with the lower lofted clubs like a 3-iron, is when you get into really rough grass. So right here, I'm going to kind of put this pretty deep down. I've got a pretty bad lie here, and I'll show you what happens when we try to use that chipping motion out of this kind of grass. You'll see that that ball just kind of stuffs into the ground and doesn't get you far at all. It's pretty much a useless shot. You'll just hit that same shot over and over again. You'll never actually get out of trouble. So when you're in the rough, pitching out, you're going to need a more lofted club. So what I'd recommend is something like a 5-iron. You could even use like a 6-iron if you really wanted to. So when we're in the rough, we're going to need to adjust our setup a little bit. We've got this 5-iron, maybe a 6-iron, and when we get into here, we're not going to set up like a chip where we've got it off our back, our right ankle, and we've got our stance wide open and our weight forward, club face closed, all of that stuff, the chip shot fundamentals. We're going to instead hit more of a pitch shot. Now, you hit a pitch shot just like you would around the greens, but the one thing that you might think about here, once you got the ball kind of middle in the stance, a little bit open, is keeping that left grip very firm. So this is going to require you to keep that left grip a lot firmer than usual. And if we can keep that firm grip, then we should be able to strike through this grass and the ball will pop up. You can see that that ball went just above the ground, just enough to, fly a little bit, but it also stayed under any trees that you're trying to avoid. So those are just the keys. To recap, with the if you have a good lie and you're trying to pitch out, just use like a 3 or a 4-iron and just hit your basic chip shot. You might practice this on the range a few times. And if you have a more troublesome lie and you still have to keep it low, but you're in, this kind of rough stuff, just set up like a normal pitch shot. Focus on keeping that left grip pretty firm so that, the club doesn't twist shut and go do a worm burner through the grass just like the pit or the chip shot would, and you should be good and be able to pitch out to the fairway. This is an absolutely essential skill to have. You're going to have to chip out at some point, and even the best of us do. So knowing how to hit this shot is a lot more comforting than getting in the trees and not only being stuck behind a tree, but also not knowing how the heck to get back out to the fairway on the safe shot. So I hope this video helped. Hope you are on your way to hitting great punch shots.